Hi, I'm Andy.
I'm Wendy.
And we're Outdoor Whiskey Life. And today, again, we are inside our house. But we did go camping, or not camping, hiking.
Yes.
We went hiking. We went on a trail. It was a nice trail. Went as a family.
Yeah.
Got to see part of the city that we typically don't get to see. It was a pretty cool little wilderness area.
Yeah.
It was a preserve, so it was pretty cool to walk around with the kids and Wendy and I and just explore and see it. Found a perfect spot too to bust out the whiskey and do a taste testing on the trail. But that was short-lived because immediately once we sat down, I mean, we were like swarmed by mosquitoes, just everywhere. And this was at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Not even.
We're talking early morning. Swarms of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So
that wasn't gonna happen.
No, we decided not to do that. So again, back in the house, and we're gonna do another tasting, which you'll love because yes, it is another Canadian whiskey. This Canadian whiskey is 40 Creek Premium Barrel Select. And let's see here. It says aged in oak and crafted for smoothness. At 40 Creek, we are not so much bound by tradition as we are inspired by it. 40 Creek whiskeys are made with passion and patience to create award-winning whiskeys which are complex and intricate, but above all else, smooth and enjoyable. Sounds tasty. I will say this about 40 Creek. This probably is our go-to whiskey when it comes to camping. We've had this for, I'd probably say, a couple months.
Yeah.
And every time we go camping, we typically bring this because we like the way it smells and tastes, especially when we're out by the campfire.
So let's talk a little bit about what just happened here. So it's a screw top. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, typically I think it's cheap if it's a screw top, not necessarily, but I typically think it's cheap, yeah.
Well, because typically in wine, right, like if it's a screw top, it's a really cheap bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's kind of what you think about it, you know, and I just like the cork sound.
Ah, yeah.
Right. So I wish it had a cork, you know.
But whatever.
I don't always.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad.
No.
Like I said, we drink this one the most, especially when we go camping. Go ahead, sorry.
Which, we talked about wine, like apparently this was made by a winemaker.
Yeah, okay.
It was
pretty cool.
John K. Hall, apparently. And he made wine for
30, 40 years?
decades, yeah.
Something like
So,
that.
yeah, so then he decided to get into the whiskey business. So.
Yeah, and it is in a weird little city called Grisby, I think, which is again in Ontario. It's on one of the lakes, the inland lakes. I want to say like Ontario or Erie, and maybe Erie, Lake Erie. But it's like on the bottom part, so directly south from Toronto.
Okay.
So kind of you have Windsor over here by Detroit, and then you've got this place tucked away, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Honestly. You want to take a sniff?
Let's kind of aerate it here to get the...
Yes. See, right off the nose.
What do you smell?
It has like a little vanilla.
Yes.
But almost, I know I'm sounding crazy, but almost like roasted marshmallows. And it could be because we take this every time we go camping, but it just smells like what happens when the marshmallow gets too hot, it starts flaming, you're freaking out, you're having to blow it out. But that smell, that's what it smells like. Maybe that's a little bit of caramel?
Yeah, it could be the caramel.
But it just smells just like a marshmallow, burnt marshmallow. I'm not gonna
And of
lie.
course, since he says that, you know, I tend to think that because I'm like, I don't know if it's all in my head.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try it.
so smooth.
It is smooth.
So smooth.
Yeah.
So immediate response is like almost like this caramel / almost like a maple syrup feel.
Can I get a little chocolate on the back end? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm getting on the back end. I'm getting more caramel.
Okay.
Real smooth on the whole entire process. Very little alcohol burn. None of that you typically would get. It seems like it's a pretty decent length of finish. I wouldn't say it's long, but it's right in between like a middle to middle long. Leaves you definitely wanting more. I guarantee you this is why we bring this whiskey every time we go camping. Just because it's so easy. And even on a cool night or a hot night, it still tastes good.
It does taste good.
It tastes so good.
This is one of my favorites so far.
Oh, yeah. And again, with the screw on, as Wendy would like to say, it's kind of like...
I would not have thought that.
Not necessarily the most expensive whiskey, but good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's so good.
And sometimes, like, you get different things the more you drink it, so that's why we're taking a few sips.
It's just so... It's definitely complex. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not complex, because it's got a little bit of... It has layers to it. Because what you smell almost isn't necessarily what you're tasting at the same time. I guess you can taste a little bit of the... or smell and taste a little bit of the caramel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean... I've had so many people tell me and say, like, all Canadian whiskey has a specific taste to it. It all tastes like maple syrup or kind of like this caramel flavor taste. But I don't know, maybe we're just not that good at tasting. But I feel like the 3 different ones that we have, they have very unique characteristics. They're not all the same.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that if you lined up all 3 and challenged it with other ones that I could tell you specifically that these are from Canada. Now, that's because I'm not that good at predicting and knowing these things. But
and I think this brand is real popular in Canada.
I think so too, because it's not your typical like Canadian whiskey. Like they said, I mean, they go against tradition. It's not your standard Canadian whiskey. I don't understand the Canadian whiskey thing because they have rules. Yeah. But yet the rules break the rules.
Yeah, they're not as strict, so a lot of times they're looked down upon because of that.
I don't get that. I mean, but whatever. I mean, it's whiskey, so it's definitely made from grain and put in a barrel and aged for a period of time. So
the rules are just not as strict from what I've heard. So in Canada, so I don't know.
I know that they do have 4 or 5 different versions or different types by Forty Creek. They even make like almost like an Irish cream type thing, like a creamer.
Okay.
So maybe that's where that kind of that flavor's kicking in.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We really like this whiskey. We drink it a lot, especially when we camp. The bottle's a cool bottle. I do like corks, like she said. I mean, I just like the sound of a cork. I know it's a weird thing, but maybe some people out there like corks or don't care. I know some people save them and collect them and stuff like that.
Do you mind if the bottle is dark and you can't see what color the whiskey is?
Honestly, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a dark bottle, maybe it keeps the whiskey from the light and protects it.
Because a lot of them, like, you can see what color it is. That's part
true.
of,
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the color. It is a darker whiskey.
It is a darker one.
It's darker. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never really thought about the colors of the bottles and the schemes and the way that they're designed. I always think they're just cool, different types of bottles. Sometimes some bottles look the same. I'm sure they're bottled by the same people, even though they're distilled somewhere else. But I don't know. It's just one of those. I can't really say enough about it. How much we like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we haven't talked about this yet. We're gonna do a few more Canadian whiskeys, but I don't know if you can see here the way it's spelled. So it's.
You have to hold it up.
WHISKY. So.
Spelled goofy.
Yes, it's not K-E-Y like all the other ones.
No.
So apparently it's not a requirement in Canada, but pretty much they're all spelled that way if it's a Canadian whiskey.
Huh.
So that's different.
Damn those Canadians.
They have to do stuff differently.
I mean, maybe it's because of the French language. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? It is in Ontario, which is like where Ottawa is, the capital. They definitely speak more French there than they typically do anywhere else in Canada.
So they can't use an E?
I don't know. It's a weird thing, I guess. I'm not 100% sure.
But it's just a little tidbit.
These are pretty widely available at liquor stores. We've seen them at your big box stores, and we've also seen it at little mom and pop places. Typically it's this, and then they also carry another one. I think it's like a double oak or something like that. Like I said, they only have like 4 or 5 of them. Relatively inexpensive. Again, $30, $35, so not too pricey. As when you say, screw, not a cork. So if you're not fancy of that, maybe not for you, but you still want to try everything you can. Are you getting anything else on the nose? Same?
I'm smelling marshmallows again. I can't get it out. Apparently I want some marshmallows.
See, now I smell a lot of caramel.
Okay.
I smell a lot of caramel now. Now that I've drank a lot of it and air opened it up a little bit more. And the more we do this, we may introduce more things like a little bit of water. I've heard that opens up and kind of brings out more flavors to it. I don't know if that's necessarily true with just regular ones.
Yeah.
But
I approve.
Yeah. Yeah, like roasted marshmallows now.
Yeah,
I get that marshmallow taste with the caramel. And just like just this. At first it was big time, now it's just like a hint of like almost like maple syrup. Like, oh, maple syrup. I don't know, maybe it's in the wood, but I doubt it. What's American probably, typically American oak, But it just says aged in oak, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah. If you like our video, please click subscribe. We send out videos about once every 3 or 4 days.
Yes.
Again, like we said, we're going through a bunch of Canadian whiskeys that we have here in a little bit later on. Once we go through so many of them, we will do a whiskey flight of Canadian whiskeys of which ones are our best. But right now, we're just going to kind of slowly go through the process of some of the Canadian whiskeys that we have. Also, right after this, check out the video of us walking through the woods in our little bitty foresty trail that we have in the middle of the city, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kind of tucked away and hidden.
Yeah.
I think you'll approve and like. If not, totally understand. Just skip it, whatever. But I think you'll enjoy it. It's pretty scenery. Wonderful trail.
Yeah.
Lots of trees in the middle of in the middle of a major city.
It's nice to have that.
It's nice to have that and be able to get away.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Are you FaceTiming Mark?
No, honey, I'm just recording right now as you run right into me.
Then later again.
I'm gonna go this way and take a look at something.
Can I?
Yeah, just be careful.
Stay there, guys. Now that's what I call a beautiful view. Can I take a picture? But Mom